And good morning. It's 7:03 on this Thursday, August 15th. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Hello, everybody. Welcome on a Thursday morning. We have a tremendous day for us, and we're glad to have you in our audience. We're also glad to be on the air for Bates Forward, and happy to have Paul Tubbs here again this morning, Dealer Operations Manager. Paul.
Good morning, Coleman.
Good to have you. Ronnie Kelly, thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning.
We're glad to have you as well, and the two of you, you just fit in here for what we do. I think we've got the dealer operations manager, we got the salesperson who's been there for 32 years, and just about everybody, I think, knows Ronnie Kelly.
We do. Paul. Yeah, he does a good job. Gets out in the community, helps the dealership out a lot. Very well involved in several different aspects.
And we're supposed to say, of course, we don't have to remind you, but just to keep you reminded anyway that it's the dealer. It'll trade for anything that don't eat. That's just part of Bates Forward.
Yeah, that is. That's kind of Tony's concept he came up with years ago. But I mean, he sticks true to it. We've traded for this summer. We've traded for an RV. We've traded for campers. We've traded for some older vehicles. We've traded for several motorcycles, lawnmowers. I mean, so, we'll trade for anything that don't eat.
Well, how is business going here?
Going well.
We're in the middle of August already.
Yeah, it's going really well. I did some numbers looking at stuff. Our website traffic was really up. I mean, you can go on www.tonybatesford.com and look at all of our inventory and vehicles, and we've got a lot of different things from, new Fords that's got great deals, 0% interest for 72 months. There's some things that we've got some pretty big discounts and rebates because we've got 2020 vehicles coming out. So a lot of the 19s have good rebates on them. And then, of course, we've got vehicles from under $10,000, several of them to choose from. We always try to get them, through the shop, make sure they're roadworthy, make sure they'll go on our lot, because we're very adamant about making sure we sell a quality vehicle and, it gets out there.
That's a good word, roadworthy.
Right.
I hadn't heard just anybody mention that. You may be the first.
Right. Well, we that's one of the things that we make sure that if we're going to sell something, we're going to stand behind our product. So we want to make sure that it is roadworthy.
And Ronnie, I know you're just anxious to you like to make at least one sale every day. I'll bet you. I don't know how you. I don't know what we haven't talked much about that. Your volume of sales, but any is good and more is better, right?
Yes, and one great thing right now, like Paul said, we got a lot of vehicle with 0% interest, and what happens there, we get a lot of trade-ins on that, and we got a lot of one owner trade-ins, and when those trade-ins come in like that, they sell real good. Just like we had a 17 truck came in on Friday, and on Monday, on Tuesday, that truck sold just like that, and all the trade-in that we're getting right now is a lot of local trade-ins, and we can go out there and present those vehicles, and people will purchase those vehicles, and that's a good thing,
Well, this is the week we've been talking about the fair for quite some time, but especially a lot of businesses do participate in the Wilson County Fair, and Bates Ford is certainly one. Really, you participate in a number of ways.
Yeah, Mr. Bates is very adamant about giving back to the community. He donates 10% of our earnings every month to charity, Joseph Storehouse. So, and he wants to be involved in the community. He's very well involved in the fair. He puts the 2 concerts on. He'll put a concert on Monday night, Jason Kravitz, and then he has Kentucky Headhunters on Tuesday night, and he sponsors 100% of that. And, something, too, that for the people to think about, if you come down to Bates Ford this weekend, there might be a few little extra tickets laying around for the concerts if there's some test drives or stuff like that. So, we look forward to our concert series. That's something that he takes really good pride in, and, we try to give back to the community.
Well, I think the concert, there's no extra cost to go to it, but you have some special seating, right?
Right. We have VIP seats that we have.
And so come take a test drive.
Yeah, there might be a few. There might just be a few extra VIP tickets laying around. You never know.
Well, we know you're going to take care of your friends best you can. Well, that's good. And of course, then this is not the first year. Tony's been doing this for a number of years.
Oh, yeah. I think 8-9 years he's done. I mean, we've had Charlie Daniel. He's had all kinds of people. He spends a lot of time and takes pride in the fact of trying to find somebody different and somebody, he had local people. He tries to do, different things, but, his big thing is he wants to give back and put on something that, supports. And like I said, all you got to do is pay to get in the fair. The concert's free, but we do have some VIP seats.
Yeah, okay, so keep that in mind. Yeah, Ronnie Millsap, Oak Ridge Boys.
Yeah, he's had several. I think Tracy Lawrence. I mean, it's been going on for years.
And I guess there's no reason to think he's going to slow down.
No, he's big and adamant about giving back to the community, so we're going to try to keep that, going.
Well, Ronnie, you going to be at the fair?
Every night.
Are you involved in anything besides Bates Ford?
Yeah, I do. I'm, on the fair board, and I do some other things. I got a schedule I had to keep up with.
Ronnie does our great giveaway. He represents Bates Ford, so we do participate a car in that too. So, and he represents our dealership in that. Last was it Miss Hudson? Was it last year?
Year before last.
Year before last, Miss Wilma Hudson, who was a great service customer, had a Grand Marquis. She serviced with us for years, bought it there. She won. And she won a vehicle, but she actually decided to upgrade. So she took the vehicle, and we actually upgraded her, and she took the amount of money that the vehicle she won and upgraded to an Edge. Uh-huh. So, but it was, it's kind of nice seeing one of your good customers actually win, and she selected the Ford, so we appreciate that.
Great. Well, you do have tickets at Bates Ford,
right?
And there's not only the big giveaway on Tuesday night, but $1,000 drawn 5 other nights. So
right.
It is a great giveaway, and Bates Ford right there in the middle of all of it, as well as the concerts on Monday, Tuesday night.
Right.
Okay. Well, our time's about up for the commercial this morning, but Paul Tubbs, Ronnie Kelly, thanks for being with us. We didn't mention oil change, cheapest oil change
cheapest one in town.
5 quarts, $28.95.
Come see us at Bates Ford.
That. All right. Well, thank y'all. We'll see you next Thursday.
Thank you.
Paul Tubbs, Dealer Operations Manager for 20 years. Ronnie Kelly in sales for 32 years. Bates Ford, 1673 West Main, the dealer that trade for anything it don't eat. Well, this is the Thursday that Jeff Baines usually sends me somebody to be my guest, and he has sent 2 people this morning. And I want to welcome both, of course, Regina Santana, Engineering Services Director. Good morning.
Good morning.
Nice to see you again.
You've
been here at least once before on the program, maybe more, I don't know. R.T. Baldwin, good morning to you.
Good morning, sir.
You have been here a number of times.
Yes, I have.
And talked about various things. And Jeff says that you're the Special Projects Administrator.
That's correct. Right.
Whatever that means.
I'm still trying to figure that
out. Well, Regina, get us going this morning, if you will. You brought your iPad or computer, whatever that gadget is there. It looks like you got a wealth of information.
I do. I thought that one exciting topic that I figured a lot of the community would like to know about is the Leeville Pike Crowlane intersection.
Tell us more.
So we opened bids. Council approved those bids last Tuesday night. It came in under budget, so it didn't require 2 readings. It's just a resolution instead of an ordinance. So the contracts are out to the contractor. They're getting signatures, getting their bonds in place, their insurance in place, and once we get those back, we're hoping to have a pre-con soon. The public will see the water main extension or relocations actually happening now. We had road closure, partial road closure last night where they could get a casing pipe in the ground. The gas main's also being relocated. There's some overhead power lines, or actually not the power lines, it's AT&T. Some of that's got to be raised up on the poles, but it's full steam ahead. We're excited to get that one going, and I know everybody out in that area that travels through there is as well.
Now let me ask you this, could nothing, none of this, no preliminary work or anything really has been done until this was approved by the council, is that right? What I mean is, no, you couldn't dig a ditch or move, you didn't do anything until this got approved and the funding in place and so on.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
But once that has happened, it's full steam ahead.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It took a lot of design and a lot of coordination with all the different utility companies because they kind of had to get out of the way. The water main relocation is not actually part of what was bid for the intersection project. That's 2 different contractors. We added it to an existing water main project so we could get it out of the way and not have to bid it out, and it could, get underway sooner. And same thing with the gas. It's not part of the road project per se with the same contractor, but it's got to get moved so that the road can get widened and the signal poles can go up.
Okay. Any idea when this will be completed?
They have until, I think the completion date is June 15th. Like, that's when they have to have it done. When we have the pre-con with the contractor, we'll get a better feel of how quick, they can get it done. We're hoping they can get it done sooner, but it's going to be contingent upon the signal poles are all made to order. They're project specific. So they're not something that's laying on a shelf. You go pick them up, buy them, put them in the ground. So there's some lead time on that.
So we're talking about 9 or 10 months, really.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
In that neighborhood. Okay. Well, it'll be good when it happens, and it's probably been needed for a long time, from what I hear.
Absolutely.
I don't go that way much, but I know when I have that it's quite a busy intersection, and as more people come around, locate here, it's even busier. So it's good to know that something's being done. It's already time for us to take a break. Let's do that right here. We'll continue with Regina Santana and R.T. Baldwin in a moment here on Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And at 7:14, let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks, Absolute Kubota and Rental. They have Exmark, large inventory of Exmark mowers for homeowners and commercial users. #1 selling brand by 2-to-1 over any other commercial mower brand. Absolute Kubota and Rental, 1325 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Well, good morning. There's a minor wreck being moved over to the side where it's already extremely heavy on 24 westbound, right in the area of Harding Place. All that traffic flow coming in from Rutherford County right now. Gallatin Pike at Moulton Lane trying to finish up that accident. What a mess that one made up earlier there. 24 East just past Shelby, up by the football stadium as you start over the Solomon Evans Bridge. Hey, get the lowest prices on most of your airline tickets. Smart Fares save you 70% off. Call 1-800-915-2544. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on-time traffic.
It's a new day at Lebanon Health and Rehabilitation. Lebanon Health and Rehabilitation has experienced new leadership, a new atmosphere at the same location in the heart of Lebanon, located at 731 Castle Heights Court on the Castle Heights campus. Lebanon Health and Rehabilitation is providing 5-star clinical outcomes to short-term and long-term care residents. Call 444-4319 for a tour and to experience the new culture. It's a new day at Lebanon Health Care and Rehabilitation.
Head coach Mike Vrabel's in year number 2 with talent on defense.
It's intercepted. Kevin Meyer, Jarrell Casey, First John Evans, Landry with the sack.
Join us right here with the voice of the Titans, Mike Keith, and Coach Dave McGinnis.
Brought to you by Absolute Kubota Exmark, Bates Ford, Fakes and Hooker, Steve Moore Plumbing, and the Jewelers.
This is Wilson County's home for real country music and the Tennessee Titans. Real Country 98.9.
We continue on this Thursday morning. Thanks for joining us. Sun shining, a tremendous Thursday going for us. And from the city of Lebanon, we have Regina Santana, who's the Engineering Services Director, and R.T. Baldwin, Special Projects Administrator. And both of y'all, I take it, answer to Jeff Baines.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So he's the one suggested you come out here this morning. We can thank him for that.
He requests volunteers. That would be a better word for
Well,
it.
RT, what's on your mind right now?
Well, as of lately, if you've been by the square, I'm sure you've noticed the parking lot renovation, more of a revitalization that's happening. And that kicked off. They started the excavation last week. So in a week's time, they're really progressing. They've basically have the site up to grade, so everything's on schedule. It's a really good project, not just for parking, but as far as aesthetics of the square. There's going to be new lighting there. There'll be new green spaces, landscaping. There's also going to be a right-in only to the parking lot, so it'll really address the safety issue because currently there's 2 entrances to that parking lot. So there's only going to be 1 entrance. We're also doing a turn lane on to Gay Street towards the west. It's just going to be a different kind of configuration that should help with safety, and it'll just look more aesthetically pleasing.
It will. I think I've heard this that it will still be available, maybe for some sort of community gathering or a concert or something that we've had there in the past. Of course, if you do that, you can't park in there. But parking would be off limits for something like that, but we can still do and maybe even do better some of those things.
Sure, there's actually not a dedicated area, but kind of on the just on the south side of the I guess the north side of the parking lot. There's parking spaces there, an open space that could be used for that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, this is going to be done fairly quickly, isn't it?
It is. Our target date, well, the drop dead finish date is early November, but we're anticipating hopefully early October to have it finished. And the way it's progressing right now, we're right on track for that. As Regina mentioned, she mentioned the light pedestals for the other project. Well, with this project, your storm sewer, there's new storm sewer going in. All of that stuff is custom ordered. It's not on the shelf, so it has to be poured and things like that. So that's on order. So once that takes place and we receive those, then the contractor can start with that. And
have you encountered maybe some enthusiasm a little bit, at least, by some of the businesses and merchants?
Definitely. A few weeks ago, we had a meeting at the chamber. Many merchants were there. It's been a group effort between the merchants in the city and our economic development department, and just every department really within the city. Also, it's really been a group project. It's just not one specific individual doing it. It's our utilities, our street department, our GIS department, our engineering department, and then all of the merchants and council members too. So it's been a group effort.
And this is one of your special projects, I guess.
It is. Yes, it is.
Okay. What else we need to talk about, Regina? What else happening with you?
Let's see, more exciting things. Carver Lane, West Main Street.
Yeah.
That's been a big intersection, topic of discussion a lot of times about the need for a signal. Well, it finally just about meets signal warrants. And before you put a new signal up, you want it to meet warrants that it's needed because, it may address some crash types, but it also causes others. So you don't want to just put it up unless it's truly needed. So we've decided it's to that threshold.
Well, you do some sort of traffic study to prove that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. You take traffic counts, and that's mainly what it is of the main road, which would be West Main, and also Carver Lane. And you look at the turn movements, time of day, what we call peak hour, several different warrants that it can meet. So it's finally about there. So we have that under design. We have a consultant on board, just now starting the process. So hopefully the next few months we'll have a plan for that. It will include some widening on Carver Lane to improve the left turn hand movement there, and then of course the whole intersection.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that one's something that a lot of people, that live out that way will be happy to see once that one
the
is
people
ready.
who it affects entering West Main are greatly concerned. The people who are passing by could do without it.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
But safety has to be considered in all of this, and what is best really for everybody, I would think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, these things cost money. I mean, and where does the money come from? Say for Crowell Lane, for the one here.
So Crowell Lane, we had actually looked at, initially it was going to involve some of our state federal highway money, but when we got to looking at how much more time that was going to add to the project, it was going to take, when you go that route and you get 80% of your money from state or federal highways, you have to follow all their rules and go through, there's a lot of stop and go. You have to turn in certain things and then you stop and you wait for them to tell you to go. When we got into the middle of it, we thought that it was going to take too long to go that route. So that one is 100% local money. The Carver Lane West Main project, we've actually been collecting money for the developments that go in on a per unit basis. And that's going to help pay for that. We've got so many developments that were just happening at the same time up and down that road that it was hard to pinpoint. A lot of times we'll have the developer do improvements. This one, everybody, the planning commission meetings, we just had one right after the next. And so we decided to go have them all help pay for it, and the city manage the project, but so it's going to be funded by the developers. Hopefully all of it, but at least some of it's going to be.
What, this, I guess, I would think is pretty much a guess on your part, but I'm just wondering, you just kind of get the ball rolling on that now, but what kind of time frame for completion?
For Carver Lane?
Uh-huh.
I think the design is probably going to take anywhere from 6 to 9 months for the design part of it. Then we'll have to get, once the design's done, we've got to let all the utilities look at it. They've got to decide, okay, do we need to move, water, gas, power lines, that kind of thing. And we've got to get, because this one will involve West Main Street, and even though we're not using any of the state money, it's still their road. We have to get their blessing. So there's a permitting process that we have to go through that we didn't have to go through for Crowell Lane, Legal Pike.
Yeah.
So it'll be a little while yet, because it's just in the early stages of it.
Couple of years.
Probably.
Yeah. Somebody said the wheels of a lot of things, but wheels of government projects can go slow, but you have to do it right. It has to be a thorough thing, and the more government entities and others that are involved in something like this, the longer it takes as well. Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, RT, back to you. I could ask you a little bit about the recycling, because you were involved in that. Is that still a special project of yours?
I'm not involved with it as so much anymore.
Okay.
I know that's
you
still
passed it on to somebody.
Somebody else has picked it up, yes. But I know it's still an active project that we're working on and trying to continue to develop it.
Yeah. Well, what else you doing you want to talk about this morning?
Just real quick back to the square.
Okay.
So we've got temporary parking established for patrons that come to visit the stores and everything, and then we have an additional space available, which is across from the Shenandoah Mills temporary parking. We've negotiated with them. They're gracious enough to let people park over there.
Any time you have a project of this nature, I mean, there's a little bit of inconvenience, but when you can see the other end of the tunnel, so to speak, when you see light at the end of the tunnel and know it's not a freight train,
right?
There's good news ahead, so we persevere a little bit for something better to come along.
That's right, and really, I mean, a 60-day window to complete a construction project is really a fast track. I mean. And on top of that, I guess the heavy shopping season, Christmas season, it'll be done prior to that, so that's not going to have any adverse. Right, and that was the goal, to make sure everything was in place before the shopping season.
Well, we've got about 4 minutes left here. Regina, what's on your mind? What else is on your mind this morning?
The city has a new traffic engineer on board. Her name's Kristen Rice. She's been here 2 or 3 months, I guess, and she's been amazing. So we're so happy to have her on board. And one of the projects that I've happily handed off to her is our ITS project. It's an intelligent transportation system, and we'll be putting fiber down West Main Street and 231 South. It's a project that we won a grant for that. 80% of it will be paid by Federal Highway, and 20% local match is required. And that one, where the environmental process is done, we have some of those hoops we have to go through because it involves money outside of just local. We're waiting for them to give us our notice to proceed on the design for that. Mm-hmm. And then that one will be, once we've got that, which TDOT, we talked to them last week, and they said that's coming soon, probably beginning of September. And so we're ready to go on designing that, and part of that ITS project is a traffic management center where you can see how all the intersections are working, like from in an office somewhere. You can make changes to the signals remotely, and we don't have that capability right now. So it's an exciting project for us. It'll make traffic smoother. So even though we're adding more lights, like at Carver Lane, this here should help.
But you're talking about right in the middle of the morning here, if an adjustment could be made to expedite traffic, can be made immediately by somebody actually watching it at that moment?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a good project. It's a $2.5 million grant, so it's big project, a really good project.
So this is like having a traffic policeman at the intersection who all of a sudden runs out and sees that even though the light is still red, but there's nobody coming the other way, go on and let's move it here. That sort of thing. But you're doing that from a remote. Mm-hmm. You're just changing the signal off of its schedule or pattern or whatever. Mm-hmm. That's amazing.
Or if somebody calls in, that there's an issue at an intersection, we can, they'll be able to look at it and see it, try to see what the issue is remotely before we go out there and kind of know what we need or what we might need, and might be something that we could tweak at the office.
Have you seen this work in other places, or?
I've been to, it's been a few years ago, but some of the other cities around here already have that traffic management center, and I've witnessed theirs. Kristen, we'll have to get her to come by and meet you.
Well, are most of these larger cities that have this sort of thing? I mean, cities Lebanon size have a lot of this?
Probably not. I know Murfreesboro has it, Brentwood has it, a little bit bigger than us.
Yeah. All right. And who's your new person you're wanting to come out here? You'd have to have Jeff send him something.
Yeah, Kristen Rice. She's our new traffic transportation engineer.
So this would kind of be under her jurisdiction, her work.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. We got a minute left here.
Just one other project.
All right.
Real quick, one other project.
Oh, you take a whole minute.
One other project that we have starting is, which I haven't talked about it much before, but at the airport, we're starting a new airport runway lighting project. Basically an overhaul of the current system. And that's going to kick off, hopefully, it should be the beginning of September construction. And that was a grant also. That's a $1.1 million project, and that's 95% funding through the TDOT and federal funding.
And the whole runway's going to be relit?
Well, yeah, there's lighting on the runway. There's also a home run duct bank, which is basically where you have all your electricity coming from. It's a whole new system that's going to basically eventually replace everything. We had to do it in different phases because of the cost, but that one's going to start soon also.
Well, good. Well, I'll bet Mr. Craigwell's happy.
He's very happy, yes.
Good. Got to get his name in there. T.O. Craigwell's chairman of the Airport Commission. I believe that's right.
That's right, yes.
R.T. Baldwin, Regina Santana, thanks for being with us today. We appreciate it very much, and we'll take a break right here. We invite you to stay tuned for part 2 of Coleman & Company here on FM 98.9.
And it's now 7:29. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to Bates Ford and the Works Vehicle Checkup, they'll make sure your vehicle is ready for any road. $39.95. That includes tire rotation, safety check, 5 quarts of oil, tax, and disposal. Bates Ford, 1673 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Heavy traffic continues now through Mount Juliet on 40 westbound, headed towards Nashville. Fessler's Parkway at Fessler's Lane. It's a minor accident at that intersection. It's busy out here now, pretty much on schedule. 65 trying to get down past Trinity Lane. 6100 block at Cumberson Road. That's going to be South Nashville on the wreck that just occurred there. Fire department is on the way. Hey, around the neighborhood oil change can come to you at home or at work, saving you time, saving you money. Call around the neighborhood oil change today at 709-2645. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
She's taken care of you your whole life. Now it's your turn to take care of her. But with a family of your own and other responsibilities, there just aren't enough hours in the day. That's why it might be time to call the Pavilion Senior Living. From bathing, dressing, housekeeping, and meals, the Pavilion Senior Living is committed to being senior living you can trust for your loved one. Find out more at pavilionseniorliving.com or call 444-5556. That's 444-5556.
Hi, everybody. Tommy Bryant. Join me every Friday at 6:30. Lebanon High Football takes on some of the very best competition, brought to you by Absolute Kubota, D.T. McCall and Sons, K. Maynard State Farm Insurance, Fakes and Hooker, Lebanon Police Chief Mike Justice, Wilson County Sheriff Robert Bryan, Wilson Bank and Trust, Dickey's Barbecue Pit, and A.G. and Johnson Realty and Auction. The Blue Devils open the season August 23rd at Gallatin.
71 degrees all the way.
73 degrees, please.
So what's your perfect degree of comfort? We'll help you find it with professional Rheem HVAC service that'll keep your home comfy year-round, save on energy costs, and may qualify for utility rebates and tax credits. So enjoy a new degree of comfort.
72 degrees, and I'm good to go.
Financing available through TVA's Energy Right program and your local power company. Call Randy's Heat and Air 237-3604.
Happy Thursday. Sunshine is finally back in the forecast for today. It'll be a little cooler, but I use that term very loosely. Has a rebound back into the lower 90s during the afternoon. If you're going to be out and about tonight, no problems weather-wise. We'll see clear skies with lows falling into the upper 60s. Rain chances will hold off through much of the weekend. That's your forecast. I'm meteorologist Nisa Lomax.
And good morning. Welcome to part 2 of Coleman and Company. We're glad to have you with us, and we are glad to have Heather Sadler on the phone this morning to talk about the Pavilion Senior Living at Lebanon. Heather, good morning.
Good morning.
How's it going?
We are. Go ahead.
Well, the sun is shining. Is what it's a little warm, but it's the good old summertime.
I had a 2-year-old crawl in my lap right when I was talking.
Well, we know how that is.
Yeah, you just never know when they're gonna show up and crawl in your lap. So.
Well, you got 2 lovely young girls, and I know you're proud of them, and you're trying to do the best you can with them, and do things for the pavilion at the same time.
That's right. Sometimes they're with me, and sometimes, most of the time they're with me. So, but I feel like they're probably growing up at the pavilion, and that's not a bad place to grow up.
Okay. Well, you're located, of course, there on Medical Center Drive, 1409 Medical Center Drive, but it's just north of Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. And if you were going to the emergency room, you go 1 block further, take a left, and you're down there on the right. That's the way we explain it every time. And Heather,
that's right.
You're the marketing director. Been doing this for a long time.
Now we just got to change the name of the hospital, so you did really good. I've got to get used to that, too.
Yeah, right.
We're on Medical Center Drive, and we have our rehabilitation and our skilled nursing, and then we also have our assisted living and memory care. Currently, we're pretty full with our assisted living and memory care, but we're building 14 new units. And I met with them this week on the construction crew, and we hammered out a few small details of night lights where the placements have to be, and so they call it the roughing in stage. So now, so we're roughing in all of our electrical and everything. So we got it's framed, and so we're roughing in, and then we'll start walling in after that. So.
Well, anytime I guess you have a building project like this, it's exciting for somebody like you who's you pretty much are on the sidelines here, but yet it's going to be a part of your life and those who are residents at the pavilion. But you see it start from ground up, and then when you anticipate the finished product, and when it comes, everybody's kind of happy.
That's right. So we're excited to go ahead and finish this whole product out. And the reason we didn't build it at first is we want to make sure we had the needs was here in Wilson County, and we've just made 2 years almost, and the needs here. So we're glad to be able to do that. And then of course after this is our Cornerstone Place, which is our independent living that's coming up, and we are finalizing all the master plan for that, and so that'll be our next thing right after we finish our assisted living, is to start our independent living.
Let me ask you.
There's a lot going on in that campus.
Yeah, let me ask this, because it was in August 2 years ago that you opened. Do you remember the date? Today is the 15th of August. It's just about the time of your second anniversary when you began.
It is. I think it is. I think it's like the 15th or 16th. And I'll tell you how I really know is it comes up in my Facebook memories. So we just had the open house, because I had a picture of us at open house. So we had our open house, and then we opened the following Saturday. So, so we're right at 2 years. So that's exciting for us, but it's also, like I said, it just proves that there's a need in Wilson County for our product. So.
Yeah, well, I think it's been a good 2 years, and people who have seen your establishment there, I won't call it a facility, but the physical establishment is beautiful, it's functional, and I think you filled up sooner than you really anticipated, and it's been going really well for these 2 years.
It really has, and we've had a lot of families that we feel like we've impacted, but we've had a lot of families and residents that have impacted us over the 2 years. So, we love what we do, and we truly feel like we are senior living you can trust, because we feel like you would trust them with us, and we want you to do that.
Well, one of the added things you get to do from time to time, you have a Facebook presence, and you make a lot of selfies and all this kind of thing, and keep people informed that way.
I do. I stay on Facebook a lot, so we try to. We actually write it Instagram too, so kind of what's going on our campus on all of our social media. We keep up with that. So, so, occasionally when I'm in studio with you, I get to take my selfie, and I have a whole album of Heather and Coleman selfies. So,
Well, if people have questions, if people need you, the phone number, you're available at 615-444-5556. Of course, your website you mentioned before, or did you? Anyway, it is www.thepavilionseniorliving.com, and you're very much available, and hope people will contact you if they need to.
That's right. Y'all just come on by or call us and look us up, whatever your method is, we're there for you.
All right. Thanks for being with us today. We'll try to do it again next Thursday.
All right. Have a good week.
All right. You too. That's Heather Sadler, and that's it for the Pavilion Senior Living here in Lebanon. We're about 21 minutes before the hour, and I have invited Tommy Bryan to come and be with us today. Tommy Bryan is sports editor for the Wilson Post. He also does Lebanon High School play-by-play right here on WANT-FM and WCOR, as well as Cumberland football. And Tommy, good morning.
Good morning, Coleman.
It's nice to see you today.
2 days in a row.
Yeah. Well, you weren't on the air yesterday, but you were here before I left, testing out some equipment, taking notes with Billy Goodman, and getting and Susie too, and making sure everything's in shape for the start of football season.
Well, it's on us. Jamborees will be held Friday and Saturday, and the real thing starts up the 23rd.
Well, how long you been? You played football at Lebanon High.
Graduated in '75. Was senior on the '74 team that went 10-1.
I don't know at what point after that, but at some point you began. I guess probably whenever your family took over the Wilson World at that time is when you really got involved with Lebanon High. Maybe were you doing other things prior to that?
This will be the 34th season Terry Stafford and I have worked doing the Lebanon High football games on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
So Bob Lee and Joe Gardner have been with us, for 15 or 16 years. I was trying to put a pencil to it the other night. But we've got a veteran crew that loves what we do. We try to do a professional job on Friday night. Tune in 6:30 for the pregame show. We do a 30-minute pregame show. Kickoff at 7, and we'll take you all the way through the end of the game. Lebanon opens up at Gallatin on the 23rd. Big rival, got them back on the schedule. Coach Gentry wanted to get Gallatin back in there, and we used to, in the 2 years prior, we scrimmaged Gallatin, and Coach Gentry thought that would be another good game to add to the schedule, and it looks like it will be. So we're looking forward to it.
And if you go back years and years and years, Lebanon nearly always played Gallatin, and it was a pretty big rivalry. I guess there's been peaks and valleys on both sides. There was one time there when Gallatin dominated Middle Tennessee football almost, and Lebanon probably went for a long time without a win. But we've had our share of wins over Gallatin too.
You go back to my bunch, 72, 3, 4, and then the next year 75. Lebanon won all those games against Gallatin. In fact, excuse me again, hard to get rolling early in the morning. 74 team, we went 10-1, and then the next year Lebanon went 1-9 after our bunch graduated. But the only game they won, they beat Gallatin, so it made it a pretty good season.
Okay, you got a veteran bunch with you, and I guess each has his role to play. But
I do the play-by-play.
Yeah.
Terry does the stats. Bob Lee is our color commentator, and Joe Gardner has a wireless mic on the sideline and keeps up with everything that's going on. If If a penalty interpretation is explained to Coach Gentry, there's Coach Gentry, the official, and Joe's got his head right in the middle of that conversation listening in. So we think we offer a pretty good product on Friday nights.
Terry's a pretty good stat man, too, isn't he?
Yeah, he can count.
All right, you got, 10 regular season games?
10 regular season games, and Lebanon's coming off an 8-3 season, best year we've had in probably 10 or 12 seasons. And Coach Gentry has got the kids believing, and they've done a lot of work in the weight room, and that's where he believes it starts. And the people that Lebanon play every Friday night believe the same thing. So if you're not getting it done in the weight room, you're not going to be able to get it done on Friday night.
Do you have any idea how many he has out for football?
He's got 88, I believe. Got 88. They take...
that includes the freshmen?
No. Freshman's about 55 or so. So when they go on the road, it's almost 3 buses when they take managers and trainers and coaches and everything. So it's a mob, and that's a big difference from several years ago. And with that freshman bunch, Coach Gentry believes that is the in-house feeder program that he can have his hands on, because Lebanon High's in the county system, and the 2 big feeders, Walter J. and Winfrey Bryan, are in the city system. Technically, he can't have any impact on what's going on there. You know, he has a good rapport with those coaches, but it's not like he can say, hey, you guys need to run these formations and this is what you need to do on defense. That's their deal. But both those programs at Winfrey and Walter J. have started weight programs, which is big. Those kids are accustomed now to doing those things. And Tucker's Crossroads, Carroll Oakland, in the county system, they have a combined county team, and Mark Medley, who used to be the head coach at Lebanon, runs the weight program at both those schools. He does half a day at one, half a day at the other. So the kids are coming in as 9th graders, and they understand what a power clean is, what a bench press is. They know that you don't have to spend time teaching technique. You go right to work, and it has paid off.
Yeah. Did you lift a lot of weights when you played football?
It was different back then. There were a couple of universal machines and a few bench press stations, and what they used to call a blaster. You'd get in there, and they'd load it up with weights, and you would explode up toward the ceiling in that thing. It was not like it is today.
Yeah. But you have had a little experience doing that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. We got to take a break here already. Tommy Bryan is with us, sports editor for the Wilson Post and our play-by-play guy for Lebanon High football. We got a lot more to talk about after this break here on Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And it's now 7:48. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to Bates Ford, and regular oil change is only $28.95. That includes up to 5 quarts of oil, tax, and disposal. Bates Ford, 1673 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning, bumper-to-bumper traffic here, 65 southbound at Trinity Lane. Heavy, but it's moving out of Wilson County on 40 westbound through Mount Juliet right now, headed towards Nashville. Traffic's also on the increase now through Brentwood on 65 northbound. Fessler's Parkway at Fessler's Lane, it's a minor wreck being moved over to the side. Around the neighborhood oil change will come to you at home or work, saving you a lot of time and a lot of money. This is the real deal. Call Around the Neighborhood Oil Change at 709-2645. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
Now you can get a great-looking cut in less time every time with an Exmark. The Mowers Landscape Pros trust 2-to-1 over the next best-selling brand of mowers. Right now, step up to Exmark with their newly redesigned Quest Zero-Turn Riders, the Exmark Radius, or go pro with the Exmark Laser Z, the most respected zero-turn mower in the business. Check them out today at Absolute Kubota, 1325 West Main Street in Lebanon. Exmark, ready to work for you.
Hey, this is Paul with Bates Ford, and I got some great deals for you. Right now, we've got some executive demos with up to $10,000 in rebates. We've got cars with 0 interest for 72 months, and on the service side, We've got tires with rebates with up to $130, and as always, we've got the cheapest oil change in town, $28.95 for up to 5 quarts. So come see us at Bates Ford, 1673 West Main Street, the dealer that will trade for anything that don't eat.
Coleman Company on a Thursday morning. Again, Tommy Bryant is with us. Tommy, lots I want to get in this morning, and I think we're kind of pedaling slow so far, but the season, you got Jamboree tomorrow night. The season starts next week. Is that here or in Gallatin?
The season opener at Gallatin.
At Gallatin.
On the 23rd. Our Jamboree is going to be this Friday at home at Tribble Field, Watkins Stadium. It starts at 6 o'clock. Lebanon and Cookeville will hook up. The 9th grade teams will get together at 6 o'clock for 2 15-minute periods. The JV teams will get together for 2 15-minute periods. And then the varsity squads will play 2 20-minute periods. Advance ticket sales all stay in Lebanon. Anything sold at the gate is split with Cookeville. So if you want to run by the school and pick up a couple of tickets, general admission seating for adults, $5. For students is $3 for the Jamboree. And again, that's a good little money raiser for Lebanon High to get the season underway. And when helmets cost $300 a pop, you got to make money anywhere you can.
Yep.
We've got other teams in the county involved in Jamborees. Wilson Central goes to Shelbyville Central on Friday. Mount Juliet Christian Academy will play at McGavick in the Metro Jamboree, and they'll take on Hillsborough High School. Watertown goes to Carthage to play in the Smith County Jamboree, and they'll take on host Smith County. Friendship will host Franklin Road Academy in a Jamboree. They've got new AstroTurf. It's not called AstroTurf anymore, but it's a new artificial surface at Pirtle Field, and be a good chance for folks to see that. And then on Saturday, Mount Juliet will welcome Beach High School for a pretty much an all-day deal. They'll start with junior pro and junior high and JV action. It'll be the Bears Bucks Bash, Mount Juliet Beach, and the varsity teams will take the field at about 8 o'clock.
Well, are you going to continue to do Cumberland football?
Yeah, still doing Cumberland on Saturdays.
What happens if you've got a road trip on Friday night with Lebanon and you've got a long away game with Cumberland on Saturday afternoon?
And what happens is Bob Lee and I will pack accordingly, and the sports information director at Cumberland, Kyle Allen, will meet us somewhere in a vehicle, and we will take off and drive through the night to get where we have to be.
Oh, so you have somebody drive you and you can sleep then?
Yeah, well,
well, maybe.
Yeah. I take a big dose of NyQuil, hopefully, trying to get to sleep in the vehicle. But no, now Bob can sleep standing on his head. He has no problem going to sleep. But I sometimes have trouble sleeping in a vehicle.
All right, let me give me a quick thumbnail sketch, your anticipation of Lebanon and Cumberland this year.
Lebanon's going to be really good defensively. We're coming off an 8-3 season. We've got the 3 strongest kids on the football team will be the 3 down linemen defensively. Grayson Gregory is a monster at noseman. Josh Powell plays a tackle spot, and playing the other spot is, I've gone blank all of a sudden. Who plays that other? It'll hit me here in a minute. His brother was a linebacker last year, and this kid is strong as an ox. They've moved Daniel Davila, an outside linebacker, to inside linebacker, and the idea is to get him closer to the point of impact. So if he's in the middle, it's tough to run away from him. Secondary returns almost intact from last year. I feel like the defense will be a strong point. Lebanon's got a 1,000-yard rusher coming back, DeQuante Shannon, who will be a junior this year. Last year, as a sophomore, he ran for over 1,000 yards, and that is the first time in some 40 years that a sophomore has broken the 1,000-yard mark. Now, we've had guys go over 1,000. Juan A. Jennings, Chris Stafford come to mind immediately in that 40-year span, but never a sophomore. And it makes the offense pretty good when you can turn around and hand it to a guy that knows what to do with it.
What is the quarterback situation?
We lost our quarterback to college. Chandler Cright signed with Ball State They're in the Missouri Valley Conference. That's the bunch that plays on Tuesdays and Thursdays on ESPN. You get to see a lot of those guys on those wacky nights. And he's got a real chance of playing with those guys, playing in the secondary and returning punts. Breeze Copas takes over at quarterback. Breeze is a veteran football player, starts in the secondary, was a slot receiver last year, and was a backup, kind of a wildcat quarterback for Lebanon, and he'll take over those duties this year. Breeze is more than capable. There will probably be some more designed runs with him. Chandler could drop back to pass, and when things start going to pot, he'd take off and get 20 yards for you. Breeze is the kind of guy they will design run plays for him, and he'll throw a lot off play action. We've got a good core of receivers as well. Offensive line looks like they're going to be pretty good.
Toughest game, probably Mount Juliet?
I would say so, at least in the early part of the season. They play Mount Juliet week 3. Mount Juliet, I keep saying every year, man, how are they going to be as good as they were last year because they graduate all these guys? But Trey Perry and his coaching staff have it going at Mount Juliet, and they've got some great numbers, and they run their practice like a college practice. They're in and out. Nobody's standing around. They don't dawdle a lot on the field. It ought to be a fun game this year.
Well, Lebanon came within a net's nose, you might say, of beating them last year.
Forced 5 turnovers, if I remember right.
But when it came crunch time there, Mount Juliet did show up and ran the ball down the field and
we
won
blocked
the
a punt and got it down to about the 8 and could not score a touchdown. We went up by a field goal, and Mount Juliet's defense kind of rose to the occasion, and then they came back down the field and scored to win the football game. Just an incredible high school football game. Anybody who watched it, or hopefully anybody who listened to it.
Turn to Cumberland for a moment. What do you expect out of them?
Cumberland is picked overall. I think they were picked 7th in the Mid-South Conference. Now the Mid-South Conference these days has 21 teams.
Yeah.
They've gone crazy with these divisions and the conferences, but Cumberland is picked by the coaches in the country in NAIA to be just outside the top 25. The conference is really good. Mid-South Conference is one of the top conferences in NAIA small college football. Tim Mathis is in his 2nd season. They're an option football team. They believe in that offensively. Defensively, they've got a pretty new crew of coaches over there on that side of the football. They open up at home against Cincinnati Christian. The date escapes me right now, but
all their games are played on the old
played at Noakes Lassiter.
Yeah.
All their home games are at Noakes Lassiter. There's a night game planned again this year.
You'll be doing them all.
Be doing it. Bob Lee and myself will be doing those games on Saturdays.
All right. Have you got something else you want to tell us about this morning?
Well, I do. Wednesday, the 21st, I'm kind of launching a venture that I hope folks will tune into and take advantage of on Facebook Live. I'm going to have a show called Coaches Night Out. We used to do the old Coaches Breakfast on Saturdays, and since I started doing Cumberland games, that went away. And I've got this new thing started on Facebook Live. All you got to do is go to Facebook and like Blue Devil Broadcasting. That's my brother Tick's platform that he has on Facebook. You like Blue Devil Broadcasting, and whenever we go live, you get a signal. You're alerted from Facebook that, hey, this show's getting ready to start. That's the same platform that our Lebanon High football games are shown on. And the great thing about Facebook Live is that you can archive those shows immediately. So if you don't get to watch the Wednesday night show, you can watch it on Thursday. You can watch it on Friday. What we're going to do, it's going to be at Town Square Social. We'll be upstairs in their loft. They've got a great situation up there.
Okay, for those who might not be as familiar as you and I are, and especially you, this is right there on the square.
Yeah.
It's called
Town Square Social.
Yeah, and a restaurant, bar, all of this.
Sports bar.
You're going to be upstairs. Doing what you're talking about.
Doing the show. It's open to the public. We hope to have folks come up there and visit with us. It'll start at 6:30. Chuck Gentry, head coach at Lebanon, is locked in. He'll be with us for 12 weeks at 6:30. Tim Mathis, the head coach at Cumberland, will be with us at 7 o'clock for 12 straight weeks, and then we will rotate the final 90 minutes of the show among the rest of the coaches in Wilson County. So it ought to be a fun thing for those who are really into football. Football right now is at a pretty high level in Wilson County, and we feel like it'll be a great show. Tick's going to be handling all the behind-the-camera operations. We'll have a monitor set up upstairs where if you don't have a seat where you can exactly see what's going on, you'll be able to watch that monitor and see the broadcast and just tune in. And we would love to have you with us. Coaches Night Out, which starts the 21st at 6:30 live at Town Square Social.
Next Wednesday.
Coming up on Wednesday, yeah.
All right. Well, that's a new venture for you. You're kind of plowing new ground, so to speak, but the old coach's breakfast kind of revived in a different format and a different time.
Well, and everybody seemed to enjoy it, and everybody looked forward to it. The coaches bought in and really had a good time with it. We feel like this is going to be something we can do again, and the folks at Town Square Social more than willing to have us out there, and they're going to feed the coaches. So it's a good opportunity for them to come and socialize and to get some of their fan base to come out and visit, and kind of like the old Jeff Fisher show used to be on TV, where you've got an interview and a subject and you've got a crowd there, and we look to have a good time with it.
Yeah. All right, we got 1 minute to wrap things up this morning. Again, the jamborees, and you mentioned several of them that our high schools are going to be participating in mostly tomorrow night, and I believe one on Saturday. Then the schedule, the regular season starts next Friday night, week from tomorrow night.
23rd.
And you'll be doing all the Lebanon games right here on WANT, WCOR.
And our football preview for the Wilson Post comes out the 21st in the Wilson Post. So look for that. We've got a great cover story. DeQuante Shannon and the tailback at Mount Juliet, D-Ray Carey, Doremus Carey, both went over 1,000 yards last year. They're first cousins.
Oh.
One at Watertown, one at Lebanon. So we've got a good feature story. There are the subject on the cover. So pick up a copy of the Wilson Post, and you can get a copy of this extensive football preview magazine we put out every year.
All right. Thanks for being with us today. Hope you have a great season, and we'll see you next time. Tommy Bryan, that's it for Thursday, and hope you'll join us tomorrow. Till then, I wish you a tremendous day.